tell me, baby, I've been waiting for a lifetime.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. I'm Brooke. I make lifestyle, travel, and DIY videos. In this video, I'm going to be kicking off a new series of DIY Cricut projects. So I got a Cricut for Christmas and I've been playing around with it, getting my technique right, and I finally feel ready to show you guys how to make some beginner projects. So these projects are definitely easy enough for a beginner, but they look super professional, which is why I love them, and I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So today we're going to be starting off with beautiful cardstock garland, and then we're going to be moving into vinyl iron-on transfer projects. So I'm gonna show you guys step by step how to do everything, so when you guys are ready, you can create your own. So if you haven't already, don't forget, subscribe below, give this video a big thumbs up, and without further ado, let's get into it. So we're gonna start with our cardstock letters. I wanted to use this as kind of a measuring stick for what size the letter should be. In Cricut Design Space, you can grab the corner and make it as big or as small as you want. However, you can also choose the size up at the top. There's a bar where you can choose the width and the height. So the height should be about 5 inches. That's about the size of the ones that you would buy on Amazon. So now I'm going to type in what I'm going to make today. So I'm ready to create my next project. So I went to the canvas and I clicked text box and I wrote in the words that I wanted. And then I went over to the font area and I selected the font that I wanted from here. You can go to filters and click my fonts and it'll just show you the free fonts, or you can purchase additional ones for $4.99, or you can buy them from other creators, but I just chose to use one of the fonts that it came with. Then I went over to images, and in images I searched engagement rings, so I scrolled through. So I found this one that I really like, so I had added it to my canvas, but I already have it there, so I'm just gonna press cancel. And I decided that I'm gonna use the ring as the O, so I resized it to kind of make it fit so I could see what it looks like. Now, right now, this would be super small and I want it to be a big banner, so I'm not going to cut it right now. I just wanted to make sure I like the font, I like the idea. And now I'm gonna go in the text box and I'm gonna see how many letters I can fit at once. But I want my letters to be at least 5 inches. So I'm gonna make sure my letters are 5 inches. I like that. Now I'm gonna go to the top, click make it. All right, we're gonna go to the left, make sure we mirror the image. If it's facing the right way on the computer, it's gonna face the wrong way when you cut it out. Okay, so now we are going to pick, we have medium cardstock. We're gonna do more for the pressure just to make sure it cuts all the way through. So for this project, I'm going to be using gold metallic cardstock. And then I've decided that I'm going to use my light grip mat. So now I'm going to be removing the film and I'm going to be placing my cardstock face down. I've now put my cardstock face down on my mat. We're gonna stick the mat in. All right, our load button is ready to go. Right, loaded in really nicely, and now we are ready to cut. Our project is done and it is beeping to unload. So now it has cut out the project. So the best way to remove your project, instead of bending the project up and away from the mat, which can cause creasing to your project, we're just gonna flip over the mat and we're gonna peel the mat away from the project. All right, now we can just pop these out. I did want to note that if you put your letters in and you're going slightly over where you need to be, you can come up to the top and do letter space, and you can put the letters closer together. So of course you still want them to be far away enough that you can have individual cuts and they're not touching, but by reducing the letter space, I was able to fit 3 letters instead of 2. Another tip is if you're not sure if it cut all the way through, if you're kind of working with the tricky material or you're just not sure if it did, before you unload the mat, just press the Cricut cut button one more time and it can recut for you. If you unload the mat and then put it back in, it might be slightly off and is not gonna cut in the exact same place. So if you're not sure and you just wanna double check, don't unload it yet. So I finished with the letters. So I have, he put a ring and then on it. So for the O, I'm doing the ring. So I just went into images and I brought the ring back and I used the N for sizing. So I know what size to do this, but now I don't need the N now that I know what size it is. So now I'm going to cut this on gold paper and then I'm going to recut just the diamond on blue paper and then I'm gonna glue it on so that it'll look like the diamond is blue. So for my base, I don't want the Cricut making all of these additional cuts. So I'm gonna go over here and hide the detailing. So now I'm just gonna have the silhouette. So I'm just going to cut the silhouette into the gold. Despite it looking like a single piece, unfortunately the diamond is not connected. So I'm just gonna cut the diamond into the blue cardstock directly, and then it looks like we're gonna have to get a little creative with taper glue. So the blue diamond base is done, and this actually looks super cute. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So now I made this one visible and then I hid the base of the ring and the base of the diamond. So now I just have this portion. So now I'm gonna go ahead and make this. I'm gonna make sure I mirror the image. All right, so now I cut out the intricate design. So now I'm going to glue these on top of each other and then I'm gonna glue this on. However, I will say I'm kind of curious what it would look like having the reflections in white. I think I might cut it in white as well and see which one looks better. So I'm trying the diamond a few other ways. So we have the blue on blue, and then I didn't have white cardstock, so I printed it on the back, or I just cut it out of the gold in reverse. So here's what the white looks like. And then with the ring, it does look good. So I was asking Darren's opinion and he had the idea of doing a white base instead of the blue base with the white detail. So I just printed the gold and then I'm gonna use the back of it. And I think that actually looks a lot more like a diamond. So now I'm gonna glue these together and then we can hole punch and string these into a garland. So now it's time to start hole punching. Unfortunately, with this font, it's slightly too small to hole punch in the middle if I were to just put both sides in at once. So I'm just gonna do one side at a time and hole punch all the letters. I just finished hole punching, so now it's time to string them all together. And voila! The garland is done. This is gonna look amazing at some of my friends' engagement parties. I can't wait to bring it. I'm probably gonna switch out the string to either white string or ribbon or gold, but I just love how this turned out, especially this intricate work I did with the diamond. I think it was so worth it. Hey guys, it's a couple days later. I brought you back because we're going to do our first iron-on vinyl transfer together. So I'm going to be using Cricut Everyday Iron-on Vinyl, and then for my surface, I'm going to be using these cute little Valentine's Day pup bandanas. So I'm gonna be putting each of my pups' names on them. So before I get started, I have to do a quick wash for these because these are not pre-shrunk material. So I need to throw them in the washer and dryer real quick, because otherwise when I do wash these, the material will shrink but the vinyl won't. So the vinyl will become like all wavy and ripply, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in a quick wash. And while those are washing, I'm going to prep the vinyl. So once these come out of the dryer, we will be ready to start our transfer. So I'm gonna take you guys along for every step and let's get started. So I'm not sure what size to make the letters. So this bandana is the size that I'm washing right now. And then just for the sake of measuring, I just brought in some of those bandanas that you put the collar through so I can measure the font and see which one would be best. So this one is 1.5 inches, 1 inch, and 1.5 inches. So I feel like 1.5 inches. I feel like that's a good size. I feel like this is a good size to have on. Yeah, I really like that. Okay, so I'm gonna do my font 1.5 inches. Next, for picking out my vinyl, I could do glitter. I don't know that we need to do glitter though. Okay, I think, okay, I have white. Okay, I have a whole bunch of different colors in here, but I kind of feel like black would look really good. So I think I'm gonna use black vinyl. I think with the white and red, black would look really, really good. So I'm gonna bring out a sheet of black. And actually, I think I have I have a partial black sheet that I think I could fit at least one name on, and then a full black sheet as well. So I think if you were to ask anyone that's done this before, they would tell you to use the green standard mat. However, the green mat is almost too sticky for me. And I know you could like pat it down with your hands or rub it against like a piece of material to transfer some of like the lint and such to make it less sticky. But I don't see why I would do that when I could just use a light grip. So the light grip mat is what I made my first projects with, and it worked really, really well. So despite the fact that the green one is technically the correct one, I find the blue one easier to work with. So I'm gonna use blue today. So I'm in Cricut Design Space. I'm gonna go up to New Project. And I'm gonna go to Text. I'm gonna write the name. Okay, so now I have to pick a font. So I'm just gonna highlight it and come up to the fonts. I'm going to do filters and my fonts so that it just shows me fonts that are already free and come with the program. So let's see. So after trying a few fonts, I like the font Sign Painter. So I'm gonna bring it to the top and I'm just gonna go over to height over here, 1.5. Okay, and then I'm going to shrink the space between lines. That way I can cut it on just a single piece. So after measuring my scrap piece of vinyl that I wanted to use, I'm gonna be able to fit both of these on here. So I really like that. So I'm gonna click Make It. The most important thing here is that I click Mirror. And then once again, it is showing me how much space it's gonna take up. So just a little more than 4. So basically I want a 4 by 6 inch piece. So now I'm going to attach the vinyl. So I'm gonna peel off the film. And you always wanna keep the film so that after you print, you can put it back on for storage. So I'm just gonna set that aside. So with the vinyl, you have the shiny side and you have a matte side. You always put the shiny side down. So I'm just gonna line it up on here. All right, that looks about good. This wasn't a completely straight piece of vinyl, so that's why it kind of overlaps in some areas, but it covers everything that it needs to cover. So now we're ready to make it. So at the bottom right, we're gonna click Continue. It's going to connect to my machine and then you get to pick your material. So let's see here. So I have Everyday Iron On right here. However, if you didn't see what you wanted, you can come here and you can search by category, or you can just scroll down and find the type of material that you're cutting. But I can exit. Okay, so I'm just gonna do Everyday Iron On right here because that's what I'm using. Make sure your mirror is turned on. Mirror is indeed turned on. You can double check right here. And then I'm gonna do more pressure. Default probably would cut it, but I really wanna make sure that it cuts all the way through, so I'm gonna do more pressure. Shows right here what type of blade you need. It has, this one requires the fine point blade, which is the blade that comes in the machine when you get it. So I'm ready to go there. And now I'm ready to load the tray. So now I'm just gonna load the tray. And since I decided to print in the top left corner, I wanna make sure that goes first. And then there are little gaps here, so I'm gonna slide that in there. And then the load unload button is blinking, so I'm gonna go ahead and press that. Okay, it's loaded in. And now the Cricut button is blinking, so I'm gonna click that. And it's gonna start printing. So once it's done, the Cricut unload button is blinking. Click that and it unloads the project. I don't know if you guys can see, but it has cut into it. So now instead of pulling my vinyl off the project and wrinkling the vinyl, I'm gonna flip the mat over. And instead, I'm going to peel the mat away from my project. So now my vinyl is wrinkle-free. So now it's time to weed the project. So the shiny side is actually the transfer tape, so we don't want to weed that side. We're gonna weed from the matte side because this is where the actual vinyl is. So for weeding, basically we're just gonna take this weeding tool right here, which basically just handheld tool with a little metal hook, and we're going to remove the centers of letters. For example, I'm going to remove the center of the E, because if we were to leave that, then this would also transfer to the shirt. So we want to remove the center of those letters. So I have removed the E, I need to remove the D, and the A for Sadie. And Hunter doesn't have anything else to weed, just that E. So this was a pretty easy weeding project. However, that's how you would weed if you had any project that required more weeding. So now, since I have Sadie and Hunter on the same piece of vinyl, I'm gonna use my rotary knife so that I can separate them from each other so that I can put them on different projects. So first, I'm going to cut off the excess. Okay. And now I have to separate these. So it might even be a little easier from the back. Let's see here. Okay, so I had to be really careful because I did shrink the space between the letters. So luckily I was able to cut them without issue, so now they're two separate pieces. So now it's time to preheat our Easy Press. So I Googled Cricut heat guide, and here you just select what type of press you have. So I have an Easy Press 2. And then heat transfer material, I have Everyday Iron-On. And my base material is cotton. Okay, so I select that, and I'm using an Easy Press mat under it and apply. All right, so I'm going to want to preheat to 315 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to let it sit on the material for 30 seconds. So I would definitely recommend using the Cricut heat guide for every project you make, because it has all the different types of materials, vinyls, as well as all the different types of base materials. That way you know when you need to adjust the time, the temperature, and you can make sure that every single one of your projects turns out perfectly every time. So here's my Cricut Easy Press 2. I'm gonna turn it on, and my last project actually was also set to 315 for 30 seconds. So now it's just heating up to that right now. Now that my Easy Press is at temperature, I'm gonna give this a quick press. Since it just came out of the dryer, it's a bit wrinkled. So now that we're ready to transfer, we are going to take our vinyl and put shiny side down. And from the edge of one of the letters, we are gonna weed outward. We wanna get rid of all of the background, so the only vinyl left on the page is the letters. So now we're gonna just start peeling that away. Sure that we don't accidentally peel any of the letters. Voila. So I have one little piece right here. I'm just gonna scrape off, there we go. So now all we have left is Hunter. So now we have to decide exactly where we want it. So the transfer tape is a little sticky. So wherever we place it is where it will transfer to. So I think maybe right about there. Perfect, so I really like where that is. So now we're ready to go. So I'm gonna move my project to the center and I have my easy press. I'm going to lay it directly on top and press the Cricut button, which starts the timer. So now I'm just going to remove. So it's been about 30 seconds and it's now just warm to the touch. So now I'm gonna slowly peel away the transfer tape. If some of the vinyl is sticking to your transfer tape, just lay it back down and add a couple more seconds to the heat press to make sure that it all transfers. So I just ironed Sadie's and I weeded out the background. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna line up with the seam at the bottom, go slightly above. So I'm happy with it right here. Move the project to the middle. Put the easy press right on the center and press the Cricut button. And now we just wait 30 seconds again. So this just beeped. We're gonna remove it. So it's been about 20 to 30 seconds. So I'm gonna start peeling this away very slowly. So I'm peeling slowly because I wanna make sure, once again, everything has transferred. And it is important that you don't let it cool completely. You wanna peel it off while it's still pretty warm. So this transferred completely. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. Oh my gosh, I love these so much. Look how beautiful these have turned out. And voila, look how beautiful these turned out. They seriously look just as good, if not better, than the ones I paid for on Etsy. And a lot of the ones on Etsy, you cannot customize. So already by wanting customization, the number of scarves I could, or bandanas I could choose from had already shrunk. So now that I know that I can do this myself, one, I'm never paying anyone else to do it again. Two, I feel like I can buy any bandana in the world now and customize it to make it super cute. I am so excited about this craft. Honestly, I think this might be my favorite one so far, and I hope that you guys have liked it too and that you found it helpful in case you guys want to try this yourself. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget, subscribe below, give this video a big thumbs up, and please let me know in the comments if there are any tips and tricks that you want me to try or any projects that you want me to try and then show you guys how to make. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.
Talk to me, baby, I've been waiting.